let's get into story number 3. So, civil rights lawyers leave en masse as the Justice Department mission shifts. So, I saw this story yesterday. Over 100 lawyers, 100 civil rights lawyers have left the Justice Department since the Trump administration took office. This is awful. This is a really bad sign. So, looking at our ground news agitator, we have a pretty equal distribution. You've got 25% on the right, 38% on the left, 38% center. So, pretty mixed there. We've got 75% high factuality or above. And I've got an article from ABC7 because I wanted to find something with a centered distribution that I could try to look at without bias here. So let's get into our story from ABC7. Exodus at the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division as officials say over 100 attorneys have departed. Close this here. The Justice Department's division tasked with enforcing the nation's federal civil rights laws has recently seen a mass exodus of over 100 attorneys, the newly confirmed official leading the division said in an interview this week. What we have made very clear last week in memos to each of the 11 sections in the Civil Rights Division is that our priorities under President Trump are going to be somewhat different than they were under President Biden. Department of Justice Attorney General Harmeet Dillon said in an interview with the conservative host Glenn Beck. Oh, great. And then we will tell them these are the president's priorities. This is what we will be focusing on. Govern yourself accordingly. And en masse, dozens and now over 100 attorneys decided that they'd rather not do what their job requires them to do. Good. The resignations came as Dillon and Attorney General and former lobbyist Pam Bondi have made clear the priorities of the division, which were established in the wake of the civil rights movement in the 1950s, which shift away from priorities like enforcing voting right laws and cracking down on unconstitutional policies to culture war issues touted by President Trump in his 2024 campaign. In the recent weeks, the department has said it will pursue legal action against states that permit transgender athletes to participate in girls' and women's sports, withdrawn from a Biden-era lawsuit against Georgia's voting laws, and conveyed a task force to investigate incidents of anti-Christian bias. Oh, and don't forget arresting judges. Of the recent resignations, Dillon said in the interview that she thinks it's fine the attorneys have opted to leave. We don't want people in the federal government who feel like it's their pet project to go persecute, police departments based on statistical evidence or persecute people praying outside of abortion facilities instead of doing violence. Is that what's really going on, or is this just rhetoric? Because this sounds like rhetoric to me. Like, come with some receipts. That's not the job here. The job is to enforce federal civil rights laws, not woke ideology. At the same time, Dillon said in the interview that she was seeking to staff up her division so they could pursue issues like the administration's actions targeting Harvard University. You need more lawyers, investigators, and commitment to do the work. And you need people in the United States identifying these things for us, Dillon said. We're going to run out of attorneys to work on things at some point. So if you're an attorney and you need some work and you don't like what the Trump administration is doing, you should probably go to the Department of Justice and claim to be right-leaning. Like, this is what sucks. All of these people, all of these civil rights attorneys that are leaving could have done some good. Like, they could have worked from the inside. Well, this is where we're at in the United States. I don't know what else to tell you. Several top Democrats sent a letter to former lobbyist Pam Bondi, Dillon, and the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz Monday, raising concerns over what they describe as the politicization of the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. It's being used for political purposes. And I commend the people, the lawyers that did step down, the civil rights lawyers who did step down, because they have ethical and moral objections to what this new Department of Justice is doing. But at the same time, like, we could have definitely used them to stay in those positions and try to, throw a wrench in this ridiculousness as much as they could. But at the same time, people have ethics, people have morals, so you can't hold that against them. But still pretty dystopian. Cool. Hey, Cousin Matt here. Thanks for checking out that clip from Nightly News This Morning, a show I do live on this channel on Tuesdays and Fridays at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you like the content, please drop the video a like. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. And I really do appreciate your comments. I'm really looking forward to having a discussion. I'd love to know what you think about it, and we will see you in the next one.